It's the grind. It's the grind. It's the grind. It's the grind.
What does losing feel like to you?
It's exciting
Why is it exciting?
because it means you have different ways to get better. There's certain things that you can figure out that you can take advantage of, right? Certain weaknesses that were exposed that you need to shore up, right? So it was exciting. I mean, it sucks to lose,
Right.
but at the same time, there are answers there if you just look at them.
Because you get the information from losing more than from winning, probably.
Yeah. I mean, the answers are there when you win too. You just have to look at them.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a constant process. It's exciting when you win. It's exciting when you lose because the process should be exactly the same, whether you win or you lose. As you go back and you look and you find things that you could have done better. You find things that you've done well that worked. Figure out how did they work, why did they work, how can you make them work again.
Yeah.
And but the hardest thing is to face that stuff.
Losing is exciting because it gives you an opportunity to get better. What a fucking great quote from Kobe Bryant there. What a great attitude to have if you're a punter, because we lose a lot of times more than we win. Only about 1 in 5 of my bets win. And on days, I don't know, probably about half the days I win, half the days I lose, I guess. But what a great attitude. Losing gives you a chance to get better than you have been and study your stuff. The other great thing that I loved about what he said there was about the process, keeping it the same. And we've talked about this on the grind plenty of times, keeping the process the same. Whether you win, whether you lose, you just do the same thing over and over again. And by that, in punting terms, it's about analysis review. It's also about staking. It's just about keeping things consistent, whether you're winning or you're losing, and just fine tuning those edges, which we try and do here on the grind. And that he finished off by saying, it's the hardest thing to do is to do this as well. The hardest thing to do is to face up to the fact that you are losing and to try and get better. The hardest thing to do is face the man in the mirror, and nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody is going to hold your hand and make you win. You've got to do it yourself. You've got to have help from shows like this, or mentors you may have, or things you find on the net, or pieces of information. But at the end of the day, you're the guy that has to turn things around, has to reassess, has to do the work to turn a losing day or a losing run into a winning one. And that's the beauty of the game, isn't it, really? That is the beauty of the game. And that's because it's so bloody hard to win. And we'll go in and do a lot of analysis work today. But it is so hard to win on the punt that when it does happen and when you do have those good runs and you put the work in, it is so satisfying because you know the blood, sweat, and tears and the hard times that you've gone through to turn it around. Righto, let's talk about today what we're going to do on the grind. I'm going to have a look back at Saturday. Those are results in front of you from Saturday from the official tips. 36 bets, 11 winners, 26% on turnover, which was good. I had a winning day. Yesterday, I'm recording this on Sunday at around midday, so I had a winning day yesterday. Hopefully you're watching this on Monday. Hopefully the Broncos have got the cash. We'll see how we went. And hopefully we had a winning day on the punt on Sunday as well. But what I want to do today are two things. One, have a look back very quickly at about 4 races, fluctuations wise, and see why a few horses drifted, why a few horses firmed up big. Then I want to do a big deep dive from June 12 into all the analysis, see what's working, official tips, selections, lays, and those positive factors and also ratings. Some are working, some aren't. Let's go back and have a look at a bit later what worked and do a real quick deep dive and go the way through it all. So let's have a look at yesterday. There's a few races that I wanted to quickly have a look at. That's my best bet of the day today. Street Artist, which hasn't gone yet. I think I took around $1.70. It goes in 8 minutes. But let's go back to yesterday and just have a look at a few races in Sydney that I wanted to have a look at, just fluctuations wise, and just talk about why they firmed up so big. So there's 2 races at Randwick, which were the 2 two shorties that won. The first being Apocalyptic. Which race was it in? Apocalyptic was in race 6. So race 6, number 1, I think on the Saturday set. On Thursday was around that $1.90 mark, and as you can see there, paid $1.60 best tote. Boombet leading the way on $1.72. Then Ladbrokes 170 and 165. So Apocalyptic was really, really well backed. So let's call it 190 into $1.70. And there was no real money for anything else in this race. Within the Law, which ran second, was probably the best backed at around that $8 into 6. And a massive drifter here was Tupacara, $6 out to as much as $14 on Betfair. Last time they met, which was over 1,400 meters, which we saw the replay, Apocalyptic won after sitting 3 wide over 1,400. Clearly had the best figure in the race. Was going to 1,600 meters. There wasn't much pace in this race. In this race on Saturday, there wasn't much pace on paper, and I thought Tupacara would lead. But as you saw in the previous race, and last start is so important in shaping fluctuations as well. Apocalyptic's at 3 wide with no cover. Tupacara looked like it didn't get the 1,400. Now it's going to 1,600. But actually in that race, Tupacara started $2.50, was $3 into $2.50. Apocalyptic was $2.50 out to $3. So last start SP, Tupacara started shorter than Apocalyptic. Apocalyptic was obviously a much better run than what Tupacara was, but amazing the price difference there. 190 into 170 Apocalyptic. Tupacara $6.50 out to $14. Why? I think obviously Apocalyptic was a better run, but Tupacara, as I said, didn't look like it was really going to get the 1,600 meters. Whereas you saw horses like Within the Law better suited over 1,600 meters, Apocalyptic better suited over 1,600 meters, and even Queen of Clubs was quite steady there at around that $10 mark, which looked like it was going to be suited over 1,600, but was the victim of the lack of early pace in this race, came up the fence. But on betting wise before the race, looked like it was going to be a victim of that early pace. So you had Apocalyptic, which mapped to sit about 4th. Was suited by the rise in distance and also strong through the line last start after sitting 3 wide. Ratings-wise, was clear top pick and was very well backed. Let's go and have a look at the Epsom as well, where we had Autumn Glow. Now, Autumn Glow, I think when we did the Saturday set, Boombet were leading the way on this horse and bet as much as $2.40 on the Wednesday. Tab and a few others, 230, Ladbrokes 235. So 240 best Boombet, 235 Ladbrokes. Now on Saturday morning, we saw Magneteer come out of the race, and then later Willie Do It. So that obviously helped, firm the horse up a little bit, because you would have got Willie Do It was around the $9 mark, so you probably got a 10-cent deduction or whatever it was. Magneteer was a little bit longer. But these horses coming out of the race from a map perspective helped Autumn Glow. And also Autumn Glow, everyone thought, which they were correct, would get across. So the wide barrier, which initially was a concern to a few people, didn't really work out that way. And the upside and ratings dominance that Autumn Glow had over this field really proved in the betting, and she started at $1.80. Pericles, who's coming off that win, was still sort of fairly easy around that $8.50, so $7 to $8.50, and that's really with Willie Do It getting out. Chio Wolf, $8 out to $15. So these high weights, you won't see them firm that often in these higher class races. The horses down in the weights are much better backed. Even if we go to the Metrop and have a look at the Metrop, which I really liked this race, and I was right in a way, but I didn't get the money. I think I had the winner $12, and Royal Supremacy was pretty well backed at around 11 into 8. So I was close. I was on Solar Spain, obviously, and a few of these roughies, but I was against these horses high in the weights. Vauban drifted from 8 out to 14. There you can see Arapaho 12 out to 20. More Felons, don't worry about it. Changing the Guard about 9 out to 12. Birdman I was against from the barrier, 6 out to 8. So I had all these horses, 1, 2, 3, 4 horses lays in the race. And this is why I really liked the race. And I played exotics in this race. And I played Solar Spain. I didn't take Quinellas, unfortunately. Solar Spain and Royal Supremacy. I did put in. I also put in. Which I didn't back for a win. I also put in the other horse in the market, not Travolta, Etna Rossa as well, which ran 12th. But Suzuki Boa left out. I didn't hit it, but I was close without getting the chockies, unfortunately. But as you can see, all these horses missed a place. Vauban, Arapaho, Changing the Guard, and also Birdman. I wouldn't sack Birdman off that run. I think they got too far back, and it wasn't really his race. Let's move on to the. I haven't watched the replay of that. I do want to go back and have a look at Vauban's run from a Melbourne Cup point of view. I'm very interested still in Vauban. I see he ran 5th there. I want to go back and have a look at that. Talking about Melbourne Cups, what about? Let's go and have a look. What about Sir Delius? How good was he on the weekend? And let's go and have a look at the fluctuations for Sir Delius as well, because he did get out in the betting, but he was just so dominant. And I don't think he's really I think he can actually improve off of what he's done the last 2 races. So 1800 Underwood, he drew wide, got in 1-1 4th, but did get a very good run. Saturday, I haven't watched the replay of the Turnbull yet, but obviously he wasn't going to sit outside lead when Craig Williams couldn't really get in, so he went forward and luckily got across and did set out outside lead. So he has drawn twice, which is a disadvantage a lot of the time because he has to get used up. He did have to use up a lot of petrol there. I actually think he's going to get better. I think 2000 is a little bit too short for him. And I also think on a soft track, he'll do better than what he's done on a good track. So let's just talk about the betting in this race. And 2 horses I want to talk about are the winner, Sir Delius. So he was backed early, and Fitzy and I said on the Saturday set he was the only horse that we could be on. I ended up staying out of the race. I laid Antino, which I was lucky to get the money. I just laid a small bet on Antino. But Sir Delius was 650, went off early into about 5, might have come into a little bit shorter than that even, 480 or 440 Ladbrokes at one point. But as you can see on Betfair, they're very easy and unfancied by the professional money in this race. Started $8.80. Why is that? I think this wasn't really his race. He wasn't set for a Turnbull. He's been set for a Melbourne Cup. So I think on that good track from the wide barrier, there were questions on whether he would improve in this race from the Underwood. And I'm not going to go back and have a look at the ratings, but Sir Delius' 3 ratings in Australia, I think 102 winning up in Queensland, 100 running second to Lindemann in the, I think it was in the Winx, and then 92 in the Underwood. So the 92 in the Underwood was obviously off a slow tempo and didn't come home fast in that race on the clock. Sometimes the ratings aren't right. I'm not saying that rating wasn't not right, but sometimes there's different reasons, whether it be wind or some unknown factor, why ratings can, be misrepresented. And I think that's another reason why Sir Delius drifted off that low last start rating, why he got to $8.80 there on Betfair at the end. You also had horses who were going to improve. Antino was one of them, but in particular, I was against Antino because I thought the tempo would be a bit slow, and he couldn't sort of he'd struggle to sprint off that slow tempo. Aliano is a horse in this race that was really well backed. So $5 with tab into 380. Ladbrokes, much as 550 they gave on Friday and started 380. Boom bet $5.60, so roughly 550 into 380, so which is a pretty big go in this race for Aliana. I think for her, the reasons why she was so well backed is from a price perspective. If you looked at her against Via Sistina, a lot of people were saying, how can Via Sistina off that failure last start be $2.50, $2.60, and Aliana $5.50? There's too big a gap, so it was a bit of a price thing. Plus Aliana being third up. that was the other thing with Autumn Glow and Apocalyptic as well. They were both third up, so you sort of knew what you were getting a little bit with them. And the same thing with Aliana, going up in distance and potentially improving as well. And the fact that she was drawn barrier 5 and she could sit a little bit closer with his lack of tempo as well. You had Via Sistina, who was going to map either 4th or 6th back fence, which James got into a little bit of an awkward spot. He did get her out beautifully and put her into the race. She just didn't really let down for mine again. And I think that's why Aliana was so well backed. That was it. I think if there's anything else that interests you from the weekend in terms of what you think is a really good run from a Melbourne Cup or Cox Plate or even a Caulfield Cup point of view, please put them in the comments. Anything I've missed as far as a big go where you saw a big go and you know why it was a big go, because I'm always interested in improving, and I obviously miss a lot of things in terms of my model, in terms of my form. I could always add something in. So if you've got a factor or a reason why you think any of these horses failed or they're big goes, please put it in the comments, because it'll really help me and it'll help everyone else out. And we're all here together to try and learn more and improve as punters. That is what the grind is about. Let's talk about Saturday. So as we can see, Golden Bullets. On Saturday, official tips, sorry, not Golden Bullets, but official tips, 36, 11 winners. I had a winning day. It wasn't a massive winning day, but it was a winning day. So there's the winners there. There's your 11 winners across the country. It's good to get a few city winners at decent prices. Ajita started us off well in Sydney. Perfumus were on as well. This was a Saturday set tip. He-Man, and then also we just missed out on Solar Spain, unfortunately, in the Metro, which would have given me 2 from 2 on the set. We finished the day well with Media World at Flemington, and we found a couple out wide at a place called Moira, a couple on the dirt over in WA as well, a couple at Gunbower. So there was across the country, there was winners that kept us going all day, which was fantastic to have a winning Saturday. It's Monday morning now, and the Broncos have got the cash. I was going to do the analysis yesterday afternoon, but the queries were running so slowly that I didn't get a chance. But what a win by my mighty Broncos. I went out to the game, one of the most enjoyable nights I've ever had. And when a plan comes off, when you're a punter, there is nothing better. It was just sensational. What a match from Reece Walsh. But Madge Maguire, for me, was the real hero. Got him absolutely rock hard fit, and had such belief in himself. They were running through brick walls. But here on the grind, we look forward, we don't look backwards, and let's get into this analysis now. It's Monday morning. Nothing changes for me. I won a heap, but I'm still doing the work. Got the form out this morning, up at 8 o'clock, and straight into it. So let's go through this analysis screen since we started on June the 12th. So we've gone June the 12th to October the 4th, which was Saturday. Now, if I run all everything here, every horse, there's 51,000 bets. You lose 5.2%. So what this is, this ROI, it's to win $200 with a maximum bet of $100 at high price, which is shown on the TKZ screen. So this is today at Warwick Farm. So let's just go to this Golden Bullet, Iona Merc, and have a look. High prices here on the screen. So at the moment, it's pretty early. So there hasn't been a lot of fluctuations. It's 10. I'm recording this at 10:30. So form's been out for about half an hour. So Iona Merc, bullet price at 250, open of 330, high of 340. So the high is from when it opens, high being the average of the highest corporate price from, say, 10 o'clock to jump time. So the point that I really want to make here is that that's averaging around 5% loss. So even if you got the top price for every horse from 10 o'clock, you're still losing at 5%. So that's how hard it is to win on the punt in 2025. There's not a lot of loose balls. I'm not including Betfair odds. I'm not including best tote. I'm not including early prices prior to 10 o'clock. So there are other ways to get top price as well. I'm not including anything like boosts or any promotions that you guys might get. A lot of you probably don't get those promos. I don't get any promos. But if you do get the boosts, use them to get your odds up. I know that some of you get them. Please use them, all those bonuses and anything else that a bookie wants to give you. utilize them. So I'm not using any of them as well. Also not using if one bookies are way out a sort of price on their own, I'm not using any of that either. But generally, if you want to bet at volume or just taking the average of the highest price, which is still quite hard to get, you're losing at 5%. So that's where the benchmark sort of is now, and it's it makes it a lot harder to win nowadays. So that's the high price. The final live price would be even higher because the SPs are around 120%, and the Betfair SP, well, that's coming in at 100% or 101%, but then you've got to factor in commission there as well. But with the fluctuations, the Betfair SP is a more accurate guide often than what the high price is, because a lot of horses that I find will be fancied in the market. I do want to add in best tote as well, because I know that's a good set and forget product, which I'll put in. But once again, best tote's good for the country races. It's more so than the city races. Let's losing my voice a bit because I was yelling so much last night out at the match. What a great atmosphere it was out there too. Unbelievable. Let's get into the official tips and see how we've gone since June 12 when I run this. Let's have a look. So our benchmark's -5. So for all the official tips, there's been 1,637 of them, 343 winners, 21% strike rate, and a profit of 3.65. Whilst this isn't great, and I was hoping for this to be 10% or higher. What it is good for, at least we are beating that -5%. We're adding 8.6% onto it. Really, we're beating the market by 8.6%. So there is something there. Whilst it's not huge, it's still good. Let's have a look at the golden bullets, which is something that isn't good. These results aren't good. And we don't shy away from any bad results here. We just put them up and we learn from them and hope they turn around. So golden bullets, there has only been 255, so it's a fairly low sample size there. -6.2, I expect it to turn around. But as you can see, there's a high win rate of 27%, which a lot of these golden bullets are horses that are in the market. I think I cut the golden bullets off at around that $7 mark. If there's anything I really like that's golden bullet, that's over a certain overlay amount, over the $7 mark, it would become a back. But let's have a look at the backs. I expect that to increase. There's no reason why that -6. I know they may be, bookies keeping a bit shorter, or they may be crunched a bit in the market, but still, I think -6 will increase. Backs, let's have a look. They would be doing better, I would think, than the average. It's been 1,051, so there's 4 times as many backs as there are golden bullets. 23% is very good as well, and 5.5% profit is pretty good as well. Let's have a look at the good roughies. Good roughies for this period are showing a profit of 19.4%. So isn't this amazing? 331 bets, only 7.8% winners, and 19% profit on turnover. And this is what I talk about a lot on this show and in general, is value. So you see the golden bullets are winning at 27% strike rate. The backs, I think, were 23%. The good roughies at 7.8%. But this is more important than this. The ROI is the most important thing. If you can get that ROI up, then you'd be rather having better bets and winning less than having more bets. I mean, anyone can tip winners. The thing that wins the most are favourites. You want to tip, a lot of winners. You tip odds on favourites, but it doesn't mean you win. And we're trying to make money. We're not trying to tip winners. We're trying to make money. So it does come back to value, and I'll talk about my process and how it's changed a little bit as we go through this analysis screen, and how value is just so important. Let's have a look now at lays. So we did the 3 the official tips. I'll do selection 1 first. So selection 1, which was outperforming the official tips, and then I think it leveled up. Let's have a look how it's going now. 5.5% profit. Good sample size there, 5,150 bets. So selection one's beating the market because the market was -5, selection one +5. So over 10%, it's beating the market, 27%. So actually, selection one is beating the official tips, which is surprising, but still good because there's been more of them. So every race you're getting a selection one, which is showing you a 5% profit. So I'm pretty happy with that overall. If it stayed at 5%, I would be happy. Let's have a look at the lays now and see how they compare to the actual selection one. So selection one was 5,000 bets. Lays are the horses I don't like in the race and the horses that I think are unders. So this is minus, say, 14%, 13.9, 14%. So selection one, 5,000 bets, +5. Lays, 3,500 bets, -13. So as you can see there, there's a big difference. I'm just going to run that again. I thought there were actually probably more lays than that, but no, it's coming out as 3,500, so it must be what it is, -14. So there's a big difference there, a big difference of 19% swing between the horses I like and the horses I don't like, and that's how I keep saying that this information that's all in, all the factors and everything that goes into it, this bullet price and these selections up the top here, these top four selections, everything that goes into that is such a great foundation for your own form as well. It's a great foundation or platform for you to use to eliminate bets or to include bets and to supplement your own work. So let's continue on with this analysis. So what I want to do now, we've gone through everything on the top half. What I want to do now is go down to the advanced filters here and go back, go quickly through everything and see what's working, see what's not working by itself, and also with selection one, because that is that's got the most the highest ROI, and it's got the most number of bets. It's got the highest ROI, and it's got the most number on 5,000 samples, 5,000 races, and it's showing 5% profit. So let's just do this really quickly. Rank one, CSW. What I want to do here as well is when I run these queries, I like running them at, I'm going to put the TKZ open price, which is the bookies price, at $1.50 to $20. I find when I run queries, I get out the short end of the market and I take out a lot of the roughies. It just gives you a more overall picture of reality rather than a few 50 to 1 shots sort of coming in and clouding the results a little bit. So let's have a look at rank 1 to 1. I'm going to leave this on the whole time, $1.50 to $20. That's how I always run my queries, and just have a look at high price. So remembering high price is minus 5%. So rank 1 CSW, 20% return with nothing else, -4. It's beating the market by 1%. Not much happening there. If we include it with selection one, I'm going to just really rattle through all of this because there's a lot there. If we include it with selection one, it's showing a 2.4% profit as opposed to a 5% profit. So nothing good really happening with the CSW rank at present. Let's move on to CAM. Let's have a look at CAM rank one. CAM rank one by itself. CAM rank one by itself is showing a loss of, say, 2.9%. So CAM's adding something, not a lot. There's 4,700. CAM rank ones minus 2.9. If we add it in, so it's beating the average. Still, it's not, it's not profitable by itself. And you'll find with a lot of these ratings, they aren't really profitable by themselves, but when mixed together and when mixed together with factors, they add little bits of value, your 0.5%, your 1%ers that just add up to the end profit. So once again, when CAM with selection one doesn't help. It helps here as in win strike rate, but as you can see, those favorites, there's not as much value in the top end of the market as there used to be, plus 1.9%.
So it's not really helping there at all for the selection one. Let's have a look at cruising rank one. Cruising rank one by itself. So these are horses that predominantly would sit on speed in races. No, I've put -2. That's why it didn't work. So I'll change that to 1-1 and run this. So these are horses that predominantly would sit on speed. So this is just by itself. -3.8, beating the average by 1 or 2%, 1.5%. Nothing that, that great really. But I'm not expecting these to be great. I'm just showing you the overall results and how they can work in with everything else. So selection one, why is that not working? Selection one, oh, that's changed to 3. I'm not sure why. Rightio, so selection one with cruising one, let's run that and see what we get back, knowing that the overall is 5. So that increased it. So that increased it by 2.5%. The average is, say, 5 or 2%, or it might have been 5.5, whatever. Say 5 to 7, so 2%. So cruising one actually increased the overall selection one result. Let's clear that. And we'll go and have a look at acceleration. So this is just pure acceleration by itself. If we run that, we are getting -3.6. So once again, it doesn't win by itself, but it does beat the overall average of -5.5. If we add in selection one, let's have a look how we go there. +7.5. So both those helped. Cruising and acceleration rank ones added value to the overall result. So distance, I'm not going to worry about for now. Barrier, I'm not going to worry about. Field size, I'm not going to worry about. Let's just have a look at selection one, for instance, in very slow, just out of interest in very slow predicted races, because I don't like betting in these very slow predicted races. Let's just see how they've gone. 5.5 on the just exactly the average, still profit. Let's have a look in very fast. How we go in them. These sample sizes are low, but I'm just doing this out of interest, really. So 2.6, 600. So nothing really doing there. Let's just have a look at selection one on a Saturday, because I know that's when most of you guys are punting, and see how we've gone. I think it was worse than average before. Let's have a look. So it's pretty much bang on now, 1,500. As this analysis tool gets more data in it, so if it's gone from June the 12th to, say, as we get up to, we're nearly at 4 months. So we're nearly at 16 weeks. So as we get more and more data in this, you'll see that the results get more stable. And when you guys, I'm hoping that you guys can use this tool in about 4 weeks. I've been putting a lot of work into it, as I've said. So I'm hoping in 4 weeks you guys will be able to use this tool. And then it'll have a lot of, have 5 months virtually worth of data in there, which is just so good to analyze. So day since last run, I'm not going to worry about for now. Race strength and weight, I'm not going to worry about for now. And track condition, I'm not going to worry about that for now either. Let's stay on this, but go down to these positive factors, which I want to rip through now as well. Positive factors, ideal distance. So once again, a lot of these won't work that well by themselves. You've got to combine them with different things. But what I do want to do today is show you how they are by themselves and also with selection one. So you can see that these all have small edges. While they might be losing, I keep saying the same thing, I know, but they are beating the market by 2%. So they are adding little bits. And in 2025, you're not going to get things that just, blow through the roof. What you've got to do is combine all these things. And there's more in the model than just, these things that you're seeing here. All these little edges add up to hopefully be a big edge over the market. So that's where that was. Let's whack it in with selection one, ideal distance, and have a look. So selection one's generally 99% of them, you would find that they aren't horses that are racing at an unsuitable distance. So there's 1100, not exactly their ideal distance, but not at an unsuitable distance. So you can see there, selection one at 5.5%. So ideal distance is really not doing a great deal there. Let's have a look at jockey edge. Jockey edge. I've always struggled a little bit to extract a lot of value out of jockeys. I know that people are big on jockeys and big on criticizing jockeys and apprentice jockeys and certain female jockeys or what have you. But I think that the market is very good at factoring in the abilities of jockeys. And I think that it's very easy to criticize jockeys as well. And I haven't found a lot of value in finding jockeys or following jockeys. And you can see this here, the jockey edge. So if this is a jockey edge, so these positive factors that I'm talking about are found. Let's go back to the actual website. These positive factors that are here, form factors, positive factors here, race pressure. This one's got a jockey edge with knock on. He's got a jockey edge tick. So these are the positive factors here that I'm talking about that you can actually analyze. Though every horse has got them down the bottom on the TKZ website for every race. So jockey edge is coming. So he's coming back at -4.5%. I find I've tested jockeys in a lot of different ways. It does give you an edge, but it's only giving you a 1 or 2% edge. It's not the be all and end all about who's riding the horse. Because if James McDonald's riding the horse, yes, he's a brilliant jockey. We know all that. He's the best jockey in Australia, if not the world. But everybody knows it. So his price is going to be shorter, and it comes back to value all the time. This isn't about backing winners. It's about finding value because everybody in the end backs winners. It's just about getting a return for your dollar. So jockey edge -4 adds a very small amount. Let's have a look at it with number one selection and see if it's actually adding anything there at all. So if I backed number one selection, which wins 5.5%, if I have a jockey edge attached to it, it actually loses at 3.7%, which is quite interesting. I don't expect that really to continue. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. And if statistics don't make sense to me, I don't really like, including them. I'm not going to take out, better jockeys, better percentage jockeys, just because I'm just seeing here if jockey edge crossed. Now, what I'm going to do now is have a look at rank one selections I'm just free falling through this. I don't know any of these results. I'm just testing as I would normally sit here, night after night, just testing and running things and seeing what I can find in here, what makes sense and what doesn't. So what I want to do just here is run the lesser known or bad jockey edges, which I think was -10. So the worst rating I can get for a jockey is -10. I've taken out the jockey edge. So I'm running number one selection with a poor percentage profit in history jockey on, and just seeing how that comes out. So as you can see, it's +2.5%. So it doesn't do better than average because on average we're +5.5%. So now it's +2%, but it does better than the positive jockey edge, which is interesting. So let me just change this jockey edge. Actually, I'll go from 10 to 15. I think that, and just see. So this probably will come back negative based on that jockey edge tick. Let's have a look. 629, it does worse, which is interesting. So jockey edge is not giving us any edge at all so far for that 4-month period. Let's move on from jockey edge, untick that, and just have a look at the raw result for unsuitable tempo. So these are horses that are coming out of a race where the tempo last start was unsuitable. It might be a leader off a very hot tempo or a back marker off a very slow tempo. It's regardless of result or how the horse performed. I'm just seeing I haven't got anything else in there. And I've got jockey edges too. So let me just clear that. I know. I'm just going to clear that. It's 1,700 bet 6.8. Let me just check that's right because I had that. Why does that keep coming back? Get out of there. All right, so we've just got our price in there. We've got nothing up the top. We've got our price in there. And we've got unsuitable tempo tick. Let's run this again and have a look and see how we go. So 1.79. 1.79. So unsuitable tempo is beating the market by about 7%. Let's have a look at if I include the number one selection. And I do think I had a jockey edge in there, so I'm just going to go back and run that. Although it was coming out with 6,000 bets, which isn't right. Anyway, included in selection one, it actually does worse when included in selection one. It's 835 plus 3. Let me just untick this and just run a jockey edge of, say, 5. Yeah, I'll go let me go 10. 10 to 15 for jockey edge. So this is unsuitable tempo last start with a jockey edge. No, minus 3.4, so that didn't work either. Let's talk about what I think will work over time. I don't think it does work because I tested this one before. Unsuitable tempo with race pressure. So it's going from an unsuitable tempo last time into a suitable tempo this time. I would think this would work. Let's have a look how we go at this one. And it's showing a loss, which surprises me, minus 2.2%. 800 bets. I think that will be profitable over time. Let's see if any of these fit into the selection and how many out of that over 5,000 and how they've done. 200 bets, minus 9.8. So they haven't done well at all. Very surprising that to me. I think it'll turn around and actually become profitable. Let's move on to weight drop. Weight drop on its own. Weight drop on its own. So horses that are dropping in weight, often like backing horses on pace that are dropping in weight. Have a look at that, minus 10%. It's unbelievable. 4,000 bets for horses that have dropped in weight. That's very surprising once again. But it is what it is, and we just got to monitor these figures and just really go through them. Update the system and use what we can to our advantage. So if I include that with selection one, a weight drop goes from plus 5 of overall to plus 1.4, 473. So it's taking away from the overall result as well. Let's have a look at the next one down there, which is horses going into an easier race. So horses that are just going, that goes off my race strength number, which is in here as well. Let's just have a look where that race strength rating is right here. 84. Race strength rating for Flight Crew. You can see an 80 for that horse there, number 983. What's our Golden Bullet up here? Iona Merc 83. Extravagant Lad. You can see where it is here, 83. So that's the race strength. So easier race would be horses that have gone from, I think it's 5 points, 85 down to 80. Let's see how we go backing them. 5,025 bets, 15%, minus 6.5%. So that one's not profitable either. When we add in number one selection, let's have a look if it is number one selection in an easier race, how you've gone at that. Plus 2, so it's taking away as well, adding that value as well. Let's have a look at the race pressure. Race pressure. Where are we going? Race pressure. Let's have a look. This is one I put a lot of work into the race pressure and horses that are going to map well and actually be suited. -1. But as we know, the average was -5, so it's actually adding 4% of value overall. Let's have a look at number one selection. Added in with race pressure. I would expect this to be profitable, but I've got no idea. 9. Oh, that's a good one. 9%, 1,095 bets. So it's adding 4%. That's horses in a good setup, map wise and race pressure wise. With the number one selection. Let's move on from that and have a look at peak rating. So this is a horse that did its peak rating last start. I wouldn't expect this to be that great. They're quite well found in the market sometimes, but I've got it as a positive factor in there. So minus 1.4, 4,000 horses coming off peak ratings. So beating the market by 4%. Let's see if it's a horse I've found as well. Overall, this was coming out as +5, +6.8. It's adding a little bit of value there. Let's move on from peak rating. I'm not mixing and matching that much today. I'm just looking at them as raw. So if you do mix and match, I'm not trying to data fit here. I'm just trying to give you the overall results for all these positive factors, and then mixing them with selection one. As the data builds up, and as we get, as when you guys can use this, I've got to add a few more things in as well. Then I'll start to develop some winning sort of systems and drill down a bit more with you guys as well. So where were we? Class edge -1. So this is a race strength metric as well, not a change. We did race strength change before. This is actual comparing it to the other horses in the race. You can see it adds 4% of value overall. If we add it in with the selection one, let's have a look if it adds value to that +5.5% overall, +7.6. So it's adding 2% of value there. Let's move on from that and have a look at the next one. Horses trained at the track. So it's like a home ground advantage a little bit. I found horses that are trained at the track. Adds a little bit to the model. It might add 1%, 0.5% overall. It's just a reason for a horse to improve if it feels more comfortable, or it's done work at home, or it's trialed there. It's I think they're more likely to perform better. It's like a gear change sort of thing. You can switch horses on when you least expect it sometimes. -2%, so it's adding a little bit of value there of 2.5% overall. When it's mixed in with the number one selection, let's see how it goes. If it adds any overall value there. There's been 683 horses trained at the track when the number one selection. You're winning 10.6%, so that's a good one there. When it's mixed in with other factors, it's adding 5% overall. Upside factor are usually horses on the way up, and the market is pretty good at finding these horses. I'm not expecting upside on its own to be profitable. Let's have a look. Yeah, -8, 18%, -8, 4,300 of them. So quite a lot. There's, won a race sort of thing nearly. -8. Let's see if I found them with upside factor. We still got that price in there, $150 to $20, which we're running. Let's have a look. If I've found the horse and it's an upside horse, let's see how we go. Backing those horses, -7. -7. As opposed to +5.5 overall. So that's it's very interesting. And 25%, the market's really good at honing in on these horses. And they're often well backed early as well. I find these horses are really well backed early. So that's an interesting one there for me. I'm going to look further into that and see if I'm overvaluing those horses. Let's move on from upside factor and look at good value in early betting. So good value in early betting. I'm going to explain exactly what this is in one sec by going to a race. See, so good value in early betting by itself is showing a 7.3% profit between those price ranges. There's 4,000 bets, great sample size. So nearly one bet a race is good value in early betting. So let's have a look at any horses here. So good value in early betting. Let's go to a different race here and just have a look and see what we can have. So here's another golden bullet here. She's an A-lister. 420, marked 420. Price $5. So 420 assessed price, runner assessment, bullet price $420. TKZ open price $5. I'm only talking about horses, and I'm not sure what the algorithm, but I know it's based upon a bullet price against an open price. You won't find horses like this ever that are good value in early betting, 8 against 5. So it's finding 420 at 5, but we're talking about this number, the 7% comes out of this factor here, good value in early betting. I'm not sure exactly what the algorithm is, as I said, but it's 420 against $5. The 7.3, that's the result coming out of when you see that factor. So it just goes to show how important price is now. And let's have a look when it's matched up with selection 1 and have a look how we go. So let's run this. Good value in early betting, and it's a horse that I found in selection number 1. There's been 2,025 of them for a profit of 10.6%. So that's adding 5.5% when there's good value in early betting. So of those 5,000 horses that have been selection 1, of the 5,000 horses that have been selection 1, 2,000 of them have been good value in early betting and show a profit of 10.6%. 3,000 of them haven't been good value in early betting. I can't run that because I haven't got the flip side, but what we do know is it probably maybe a break square point or something like that. So it just goes to show how important these prices are. And so my process with finding my own bets now is one of two step process. And it is, 1, I need the factors to line up. And someone asked me the other day, and it was a great question. What does it mean? What does it mean, value? Like, what do you mean when you say good value? Does it mean the horse is going to win, sort of thing, or does it mean that you're betting off the prices, or what does it mean? What it means is my two-step process now. 1, the factors have to line up, the positive factors. So all of this sort of stuff has to line up, has to have the right, let's just call it the right setup for today. And based on all this stuff and all the ratings and everything, the hundreds of variables that go in to identifying this, it has to fit that criteria, number 1. Number 2, I have to like the price as well. So I have to tick 2 boxes. 1 are the variables in the setup. 2 is the price, and thinking that this horse is good value when those tips go out at 9:30 a.m. And when the tips go out at 9:30 a.m. and I have the tips, the official tips, the golden bullets, the good roughies, and the backs. Those are the horses that I am backing for the day. And I think from that 10 a.m. mark that I'm happy with the price on offer at the time. Does it mean I'm going to jump in straight away and back it? No, because a lot of them drift. A lot of them have been well backed as well. They might be 4 into 280. And I still think 280 is a good price. I'm hoping that it will get better than 280, and a lot of the time you do. The price will drift back out, or you can put the bet on best tote, and one of the totes kicks out, or anything like that. Really, where you are getting a better return for your dollar. So you can see there that selection 1, 10.6. Let's have a look how the official tips go with. Actually, they're all going to be. Let me just run it for the exercise, because there were a couple early, like in the early month, where I wasn't as price conscious, and the bullet price was actually longer than the live price, but there's not that many of them, I don't think. Let's just have a look how most of these will be the case. So 1177, 6%. So I think official tips were at 3%. So it just shows that's gone up to 6%. And let me have a look at so that's adding value to the official tips as well. But nowadays, I don't think you'll see a tip where the bullet price isn't shorter than the opening live price. And if you're a punter who waits to the end and the horse is $5 into $3, and my bullet price might have been $4, I would suggest maybe staying out of those bets as well. It's a real hard one, that I haven't tested it. I do want to test that, and I haven't done that at the moment. So a lot of it's guesswork until I actually test things. But what I'm going to do right now is look at the top 4 selections with good value in early betting. So good value in early betting. And then I want to have a look at the roughies as well. So top 4 selections, good value in early betting is showing 7.4%. So that might be a few bets a race. Sometimes that'd be 2. I don't think it'd be 3. might be too high. In the Metrop, it was 4 because the top 4 selections were all official tips. But that's pretty rare. 4,000 bets, 7.4% on profit profit on turnover. So that's a good one there as well. What I want to just have a quick look at now is how we go back in these roughies. I'm going to go 21 to 200. Now, actually, Valiant King, I won't go back and show you, but Valiant King, we had, I think, $70 to $71. And I didn't back it, but it's $71. And the opening TKZ price was 91. And there was another one on Saturday as well that won at big odds. Anyway, it was 91 out to 126 and then got really well backed into about 40 or 51 bucks, Valiant King. But my point is it was an overlay. Let's have a look how you go back in roughies that are good value in early betting. I don't know what my algorithm is, so maybe I cut off. I don't know. Let's have a look and see what this is. So minus 3%. So minus 3%, 591 bets. So roughies not doing as well. Well, they're not profitable. 3%. As you can see, this is why I don't back a lot of longer priced horses. 18 winners from 591 bets. Even if this was showing a profit here, and this was at 25 winners from 591 bets. A lot of losers there. There's a lot of pain involved and a lot of outs of backing roughies, which I generally, steer clear of. Let's get this back to 1.5 to $20, and we'll get out of good value in early betting and go to excuses last start. So these are horses that, might have got checked or missed the start or had cardiac arrhythmia or, not so much bad rides, sat wide often with no cover. So there's been 1,100 of them, minus 10% on turnover. So it's not adding, it's showing that the market's finding a lot of these horses at the moment. I do expect that to turn around. I'm surprised by that result. Let me just run it again to make sure that it is right. Minus 10% on turnover for any horses that had excuses last start. So they had excuses, 1,100. Let me see how we go if I found them. And so the horses that should have finished closer, now I found them. Let's see how we go here. +2, you do win, but only 193 of them, and not as good as average. So that at the moment is not showing that it's adding any value to the overall result. So all in all, that's where we're at after 4 months. We're adding value. Is it where I want it to be? No. Is it ever going to be where I want it to be? No, because we grind away and we're always trying to improve the overall results. But what it does do is adds overall value to anything that you're doing, or if you're betting blind, it's adding great value, because if you are getting reasonable price, you are maybe not showing a huge profit, but you aren't losing as much either. And sometimes this game is about losing less, not winning more, but losing less. But we do obviously want to be winning. And if you're handling things right, you are winning off this system. I'm winning off this system, but it is a grind. But everything's a grind in 2025. And let's just keep at it. Let's keep adding things into the comments so we can all keep learning as well. Stay in the game, stay in the zone, up the Broncos. I'll see you on Friday from MaxBet.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.